We recognize that your path here today is to connect to who you truly are through enlightenment and ascension. This ascension process is not always the easiest thing. The biggest problem that humans come into contact with when it comes to their own ascension is the fear. It's usually the fear of the unknown, because the ego self has a fear of the higher consciousness. Why is that? Because the ego recognizes that only this earth plane is real, and anything that it wants to create has to be manifested through the means of the earth plane or other humans. We recognize that it's easier for us to see this from a divine perspective, from the masters understand that this divine perspective isn't always the one that you have when you're incarnating on the earth plane. We want you to understand that we have lots of compassion for this plight of the human race, to work through their fears. But once you start to recognize the Maya and illusion around you, you'll move past it into the understanding of the third eye. The third eye sees beyond the fear. It sees beyond the illusion. It sees to pure creation. We want you to have this third eye opening. And the reason that we do is because it will only help you ascend faster and more easily. Don't overthink the third eye. Don't overthink that it is don't overthink that this third eye is something that you have to work at. It will start to happen or will happen spontaneously. This is available to you when you're in deep meditation and moving beyond the earth plane. And the only way to ascend really is to connect to the divine inspirational energies of the third eye and the crown chakra and beyond. The best way to do this is through meditation. Meditation excels the enlightenment process. And this is because meditation will bring you beyond the illusionary prospect and perception of this earth plane. The earth plane sees only what it can see, feels only what it can feel, and is only from the perspective of earthly matters. When you connect to the higher energies of third eye and crown chakra, then you are connecting to the higher vibrational frequencies beyond the illusionary of the third plane, of the earth plane, We want you to recognize that the illusionary factor does not have to be who you are or what you believe in. Just because there's an illusion doesn't mean that all illusion is real. And we want you to see that from the divine perspective of the third eye. And this is because fear holds us back from opening up those higher centers. The ego wants you to believe that only what you see and perceive from that perspective is real. It gets attached to its creations of the car, of the computer, of the relationship. The ego is very attached to these lower vibrational frequencies. This is not who you are. It is to move beyond the lower vibrational frequencies, and that is why you've come to the ascension process, and why you believe in enlightenment, and why you want to know more about it. Because you recognize that the ego self is only working through fear. And when it only works through fear, it has an energy of fear, and it holds a lower frequency, and it's attached to the shame energy. The higher consciousness understands the divine of all of it. The lower frequencies is not worse or better than a higher frequency. So fear is not worse or better than divine love. It's just a different frequency. It's just a different energy system. And just because it's a different energy system doesn't make it bad or good. Only bad or good can be on the earth plane. It can only be through the duality of the earth plane. So you want you to recognize that just because you see a right and wrong, an up and down, a better or worse, doesn't mean that that is true, or doesn't mean that that's where you need to focus your attachment or perception. When you are working with somebody and you are in a relationship, when you have to be right about a relationship, you're actually moving down to a lower frequency. The higher frequencies recognize that there is no right or wrong, and that if you have divine compassion for this being because they're trying to work through things themselves, then you see only love. And that is ascension. That is enlightenment. When you reach a fear-based energy that they may leave you, or that they're a bad person, or that they're in a lower frequency than you are, then you are actually lowering your frequency. When you see through the illusion that only compassion and love is real, then the fear can no longer be part of your experience. You see beyond the fear. You see beyond the illusion of the fear. You see beyond the illusion of the earth plane. The reason that we want you to recognize that there is a higher frequency available to you is because you've been asking for ascension and enlightenment, and this is the way to do it. If you're angry at someone, or you are fearful of someone becoming into power or into a space that you feel they would have the upper hand, then you are working through the fear of the illusion. Only in the illusion can there be fear. In the higher vibration frequencies of divine energies, there is no such thing as fear. There is no such thing as hatred or anger. From the quantum field, anything is possible. And when you start working down into the lower frequencies of anger and hatred, you're usually on the earth plane or another dimension close to the earth plane. This is because you have chosen to come here onto the earth plane to experience all aspects of creation. This is another aspect of creation. It's just at a different frequency. So even though you may want divine love, if you sit in fear, if you sit in anger, you are working through that to connect to your divine frequency of love. And we ask that you work through that divine frequency. We ask that you see through the illusion of fear and anger and see the truth of compassion and divine love. We send you so much love. And we hope that you will share this video with others so that they may work through their own lower vibrational frequencies into the divine love. And we send you so many blessings and understanding and compassion.